We should associate care homes with kindness and compassion. But what happens when the people you love are in fact being tormented and abused behind closed doors?
Mattresses being left with faeces on.
Large sums of money being taken out from online betting.
Who would rape her? She's fat and herself.
Mark was lying there unconscious and his head had been shaved.
They've created an abuse system.
For several weeks now, I've been speaking to people about this place, Dunraven House and Lodge, a care home in Salisbury. It says it specialises in caring for the elderly as well as people with severe psychological conditions. But several former employees have told me of the horrific conditions they witnessed while working there.
Clients being left with urine-soaked mattresses and the beds just being made over on top of that. Mattresses being left with faeces on and just being told to wipe it off. Carpets, again, being soaked in faeces and urine, and the clients just being left in those rooms for months with the smell. They, instead of colour-coded cloths that were disposed of at the end of each day, they had rags from clients' clothes, old towels cut up, and that's what we had to use to clean.
And you said they were taking the clothes from residents' bedrooms once the residents were passed away and then using them as cleaning cloths.
Yeah, cutting them up and distributing them. And occasionally the clothes, if they were deemed in good condition, were then handed out to other residents to wear.
It was not only the poor sanitary conditions that concerned workers at Dunraven. Alex Williams was a carer. She claims that the management created a controlling and abusive environment. He said they were made to do some things that they didn't necessarily want to do, like...
Yeah, so there's a few clients that have kind of jobs that have been appointed to them by the owners, but I don't believe that given an actual choice, they would want to do that. I think it's expected of them, it's routine, it's repetitive, and all of the clients accept, and it baffled me how everyone accepted this nastiness, this callous control of everyone. Both the staff and the clients do that to avoid being a further target of the owners, because if they don't do as they're told, they will not be able to have a treat. They would kind of take away their phones, or they would have less cigarettes. You know, like they were punished for trying to stand up for themselves. There was always an issue with belongings going missing, not just high value items, just anything, but it did include, you know, jewellery, watches.
What was the trigger that made you want to blow the whistle about everything that was going on at Dunraven Care Home?
So one of the most serious incidents was a alleged rape, where a client disclosed to me that she had been allegedly raped by a member of staff whom I also worked with at the home. The owner, on one occasion when her and I were having a conversation about it, said, "Who would rape her? She's fat and herself." And I can remember thinking, I honestly don't know what to say to that. They haven't created a loving, kind, caring home. They've created an abuse system.
While staff witnessed these apparent abuses of power, residents lived through them. Mark was diagnosed with schizophrenia in his mid-20s. He lived in several care homes throughout his life and moved to Dunraven in January 2021 when he was aged 68.
Well, it was 2 months before we were allowed to go and visit, and when we arrived, he had visibly changed. He was physically not the same person as the last time I'd seen him. He'd started to lose weight. He was quite doddery on his feet.
And could you tell me also about some of the financial irregularities you'd noticed in his bank statements?
Yeah, I have power of attorney over Mark's financial affairs. I noticed after several months that there were sums of money going out which didn't seem to stack up to me. Large sums of money being taken out from online betting. Well, Mark never bet on anything in his life. Takeaways in London, amounting to hundreds of pounds. We changed those bank cards at that point. So yeah, prior to that, they would have had the bank cards.
And could you tell me a bit about your experience the last time you went to visit Mark?
They never really wanted us to go into his room. We'd only seen his room, I think, twice, on other occasions. And that's over several years, over nearly 3 years. And when we went to his room, it was a different room, and we were pretty horrified that it was cold. It was cold outside, the temperature was low, and his window was open, and there was no heating. He had a CD which wasn't connected, there was no plug on it. The TV wasn't functional. So, and we had no clothes in the wardrobe, virtually none. We opened the drawer at the bottom of the wardrobe and it absolutely reeked of urine. It was as if he was suffering from sensory deprivation.
6 weeks later, Mark was admitted to hospital.
The ambulance crew who'd taken him said they were concerned this was a safeguarding issue because his body temperature was so low, it was 11 degrees lower than it should have been. I think it was 26 degrees. They cut the clothing from him and he was wearing an extremely thin jumper with nothing underneath. When it came to his trousers, he was wearing, again, a very thin trackies, no underwear. To our utter horror, Mark was lying there unconscious, and his head had been shaved, and it had been shaved badly. There were marks on it where it had been shaved. His head had been shaved, and Mark had never had his head shaved. He always had hair, so Mark never regained consciousness. I posted something on the website which got taken down, and what I said is if you love somebody, don't send them here. And I hope nobody else has sent them there until there's meaningful change.